Hi, I'm Eve, and today I'm going to show you how to make Welsh cakes. This will take about 30 to 45 minutes of your time, but the video is going to be about 15 minutes long. I really hope you enjoy eating your Welsh cakes. So to make your Welsh cakes, you need 225 grams of self-raising flour, you need 110 grams of salted butter, 85 grams of caster sugar, a splash of milk, a handful of fruit, so maybe sultanas or raisins. However, if you don't like these, you could definitely use some chocolate chips, 1 egg, and spice of your choice. I like to use cinnamon, but you could maybe use allspice, and a little pinch of salt. So first things first is you need to get your self-raising flour and your butter. And begin with using your hands to mix up the butter and the flour together, pressing them in between your thumbs until we get to a consistency of breadcrumbs. So this might take a few minutes until we get to that consistency. So whilst I'm carrying on here until I get to that stage, I'll give you a little bit of history into the Welsh cake. So they are a really traditional sweet treat within Wales, and they date back all the way to the 1800s when mining industry was rife within Wales, and typically the wives of the miners would give Welsh cakes to their husbands because they would put them into their pockets throughout the day until they were ready for something to eat, because they were very sturdy, so would keep well inside of their coat pockets or wherever they were keeping them. And Welsh cakes in the Welsh language is pique ar y maen. But yeah, they're also called bakestones or griddle cakes as well, but most typically they are called Welsh cakes by the Welsh people. And they are absolutely delicious. I love making Welsh cakes. Like I said, you can really mix up your ingredients and sort of find something that suits you. Traditionally, sultanas and raisins are used within Welsh cakes, but like I said, you could use chocolate chips, maybe be a little bit experimental and try out some dried fruit until you find something that you really like. Now you can see here that I'm really getting to that breadcrumbs consistency, and I've worked that in between my thumbs and my fingers until I got to this stage. So I'm just about there. I'm just going to make sure that that is the way I need it. And now we can move on to the next thing. So the next stage is to add all of our other ingredients. So our caster sugar goes in, our milk, fruit, egg, and we're just mixing this up with a spoon, and it should start to thicken, which is what we want. So I'm just going to thicken this a little bit, and now I'll add my spice. So I'm going to eyeball my spice and my salt, but about a teaspoon of each. Might be too thick for my spoon. Now once we get to a stage where we can't do much more, we need to tip this out onto our surface. So I think we are just about there. So now we need to lightly flour our surface. and scoop out our mixture. And we need to pull this together to make a nice ball. And then with our rolling pin, I'm just gonna make this a little bit drier a moment. So you might want to have a feel, see if it's sticking to your hands a little bit too much. If so, then you will want to add just a little bit of flour to your surface, just until it stops sticking to your hands. So I would say now, this is quite a sturdy ball, it's not sticking to my hands, it's the right consistency for me to work with. So I need to add a little bit more flour now to my work surface. And with my hands a little bit, just press it out and use my rolling pin until it becomes about 1 centimetre thick. I would say that's about right. And then with your cookie cutter, making sure that you put all of the pieces that you create now again onto a floured surface, otherwise it's going to stick. Start cutting out your Welsh cakes. As you can see with mine, I made sure I used up every last bit of the dough by pulling together all the scraps that weren't used when you first pressed into the cookie cutter into your dough. So keep pulling it back together, spreading it back out again until all of your dough is used. So before we start baking our Welsh cakes, we need to preheat our frying pan to a medium heat. And make sure that that's come to temperature before we start baking our Welsh cakes. So give it a few minutes before we start. So now that your pan is preheated, we can put in some Welsh cakes. Now make sure your pan is not greased. It can't have any oil or butter in. Now, but depending on your pan size, put in, maybe with mine, I've chosen to do 3 Welsh cakes. You don't want to overcrowd the pan. So what we're going to do is we're going to bake these Welsh cakes in batches, and now we will leave these for 3 to 4 minutes, flip them over another 3 to 4 minutes until they're golden brown, and they should be done. So you can see now they've got a nice golden brown colour, and they've also risen whilst they were baking, and that's because of the self-raising flour in the mixture. So what I like to do just to finish them off is give them a little dash of caster sugar for that extra sweet hit. And there you go, some lovely Welsh cakes that I really hope you enjoy. I hope you find this video really helpful. Good luck.